Hey guys, it's Brooke, and one of my favorite albums of all time came out a year ago today. On May 12th, 2017, American rock band Paramore released their most recent studio album, After Laughter. Now, if you know anything about Paramore, you probably know that they were a part of kind of the early 2000s emo punk rock Warped Tour scene that was kind of a thing. And Hayley Williams is pretty much one of the only constant member, the only person who has always been in the band. And I've always loved Paramore. They were probably the first band of that genre that I ever got into, and I liked them even before I listened to a lot of that style of music. I've always thought she was cool because, at the time it was My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, and Paramore, and she was the woman leading in that genre. And I've always thought she was cool. I think she's even cooler now than I used to. She's one of my favorite people. I've said this before in videos, but she's one of my favorite, if not my number one favorite person in the modern music industry right now. One of my favorite musicians of all time, but in the modern music industry, I think she is one of the best and one of the realest people out there. Paramore's history is interesting, and this album, After Laughter, sees them as they have just lost a key member of their band, Jeremy Davis, and have brought in an old member of their band, Zac Farro. And so they're coming from an interesting place. And I've talked to my friends about this before, but Paramore, I almost feel bad for them, or more so should I say Hayley, because I feel like on every album they're on the verge of some kind of crisis. Not on the verge, but they've just come off of some kind of crisis and are on the verge of the next one, which in some ways is replicative of life, because I mean that happens. Eyes, which came out in I think 2010, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 2010. She talks about, I can't believe we almost hung it up, talking about how the band almost split after Riot, which is crazy to think about. Obviously had suffered her breakup with Josh Farro and all of that, and then they lost Josh and Zac in the band and had a dispute over that, and they released the self-titled album, which discussed that, and then Jeremy left and they got Zac back, and Jeremy sued them for a lot of things, and it's just an ongoing thing. But as I said, that the album cycle is kind of going on 4 years at this point, because if I'm correct, there were 3 to 4 years in between Brand New Eyes and Paramore. There were 4 years in between Paramore and After Laughter. And in 3 to 4 years, your life changes. You lose people in your life. Your personality changes. You're a different person now than you were 4 years ago, no matter who you are. And they kind of show that through their music style, and it's a really cool thing to kind of grow along with. The album came out at a time when I was having a really rough time personally, and this album really kind of guided me through that, and so because of that, it is one of my favorite albums of all time, and I will always be eternally grateful for the impact that it's had on me. I truly believe that you should take people's reviews and people's opinions and ratings of albums and songs with a grain of salt, because it's just an opinion, and sometimes you just have to hear the right thing at the right time to really appreciate and love something, because music touches to the emotions, and if you don't have the correct emotion to listen to a certain song, you know, you can enjoy it. You can enjoy the, you know, technicalities of it, the fundamentals, the, you know, production, the music, I mean, even the writing. But every once in a while, if you're a music lover, there's that rare moment where you find a song that you just feel, and you feel everything in it, and it just resonates with you, and it gives you the voice that you don't have in the situation that you're in. And instead of that just being one song, that was this entire album for me. Lee says that the name After Laughter came from the look on someone's face after they stop laughing, and she always wonders what that moment is that brings them back down to reality, to where they stop laughing. And I thought that was a really nice and interesting concept. The record is, you know, about how once you're stuck in that place after you stop laughing. Their first single, Hard Times, came out, and it's a beautiful opener to the album. It features the line that perfectly opens and sums up the album: all that I want is to wake up fine. And that was just something, the first time I heard it, it was like, yes. And she talks in that song about, you know, it's the anthem of having a hard time. And she talks about, you know, social seclusion and, you know, keeping herself away from her friends, which is definitely something that I relate to and was going through at that time. How she just would like to wake up and this part of her life be over with. And that, to a T, is how I felt. Rose Colored Boy, which is their current single, they talk about the modern kind of craze of optimism and the way that some people push positivity as a way to completely cure depression. And in fact, positivity, you know, obviously you can't say positivity is negative, but sometimes the way people present positivity has a negative effect on people who are battling mental struggles. And not saying that you shouldn't, you know, try, but she's saying she can't see the world through this brightly colored, or these rose-colored glasses that this rose-colored boy is looking through. And I understand that too. Like, at the time this came out, everything seemed dark to me, and I didn't get it. And I'm just telling you, every word of this album resonates with me so much. You know, just let me cry a little bit longer. I ain't gonna smile if I don't want to. Hey man, we all can't be like you. I wish we were all rose-colored too. My rose-colored boy. And it starts with the catchy hook, you know, low key, no pressure, just hang with me in my weather. And those are some of my favorite lyrics of all time. That's actually my banner on Twitter for like the last year has said that. I love that line, the low key, no pressure, just hang with me in my weather. Sometimes you need someone to just be with you in the state you're in and just accept you in the state you're in. And I really love that song. And basically the message, which she actually just recently tweeted about this, she composed some beautiful tweets giving a better illustration of the meaning of this song. And she was saying that you don't want to make people shameful when they're already sad, shameful that they're not happy and that they're not looking at things positively when other people have it worse. And I think it's a great statement. There's quite a pessimistic view on some of these tracks, but it works with the theme of the album, and you have to be in that mood. Because the track Told You So, she starts with, for all I know, the best is over and the worst is yet to come. Is it enough to keep on hoping when the rest have given up? And that's another line that just gets to me. Fake Happy is another anthem that kind of summarizes people in general, and it also kind of goes along with the theme of Rose-Colored Boy. And she says, you know, oh, please don't ask me how I've been. Don't make me play pretend. Oh, what's the use? I bet everybody here is fake happy too. And so, you know, saying that just don't even bother asking, because she doesn't feel like lying about being happy. And it's kind of a pessimistic worldview. But when you're in that kind of situation, that's how things look. And it really resonates with me. The song 26 is one of my favorite songs ever. It's in my top 10 favorite songs of all time. If you've watched my channel since the beginning, or you've gone back and watched my old videos, if you watch my 100 Facts About Me video, I list my top 10 favorite songs of all time, and that song is in there. The song is full of gold lyrics, but the lines in particular: reality will break your heart, survival will not be the hardest part, it's keeping all your hopes alive when all the rest of you has died, so let it break your heart. Those lines are some of the most meaningful words ever to me. Pool is one of my favorite Paramore songs of all time, and that one is not as much having related to it, even though I do in a way, but also, like, it's just fun, but it's well written, and it still goes along with the theme, and it has the whole sounds positive but is actually kind of dark vibe to it, which it goes perfectly with this album, and that's one of my favorite songs on this album. Even though I don't really have a great explanation for why that's one of my favorites, it is. Song Grudges, which is obviously about Zac Farro, talks about how he regained contact with him after all this time, and it seemed like nothing had changed, and it was a nice feeling, and it's kind of about putting, you know, like, animosity towards someone aside. The key lines from this song is, if you want to call me up, come over, come on, we'll laugh till we cry, like we did when we were kids, because we can't keep holding on to the grudges. And I just really love those lines. The song Caught in the Middle is what some people refer to as the only rock-ish song on the album, but I don't really think that makes a difference personally. But that song is kind of about forcing yourself through a situation. She says, I think I'm a little bit caught in the middle. I try to keep going, but it's not that simple. And she says, I try to keep going or they'll call me a quitter. And that's just another feeling that's like, it's like, this is kind of motivating, but also it's like, why am I trying to please all these other people? So that, once again, I relate to, and that's just a great track. And Idol Worship, one of my favorite songs of all time also. That song is gold. She, almost from a religious perspective, talks about how her in specific, but anyone who you look up to, which this song resonates with me because she is one of the people who I highly, highly look up to, talks about how those people are not perfect either. Like, she feels bad because she is kind of the person who people look for help, and she can't even help herself. And she says, rip me open, you'll see you're not the only one who's hopeless. And she says, please put your faith in something more than me, because I don't want to let you down. And it's a beautifully written song. That's another one that I can't really put into words how much I love it, but it's beautiful. Tell Me How is a good closer to the album. It's a good moving on thing, and I feel like that's kind of the after laughter moment. She says, you know, I can't believe I hadn't got this off my chest yet. That's not the exact line, but she says, you know, I can't believe that I've just now addressed this and that I've just now gotten this all out. And I feel like that is a good ending to the album. And yeah, and just the way that they did everything with the production of the album, just the way that the album itself looks so fun and happy. And then I always appreciate album art when it has a really good theme going with the album. And I just think it's cool that everything is so bright, and then it has, you know, like almost like the busts of them, and they're just like this stone. And also the standard copy of the record is pressed on this gray marbled vinyl, which, if you look, does not really go with this. I mean, it kind of matches, but this is very fun and happy, and this is like rock. So it's well symbolized. It's a very beautifully written and a very well put together album, and I love it so much, and I cannot wait for many more years of listening to this album. Now guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, comment and tell me what you thought of it, other albums you might like me to talk about, if there's another album that's approaching a specific anniversary, that would be awesome. Tell me what your thoughts are on After Laughter. Tell me what your favorite Paramore album is. Like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more music related content every Saturday. And yeah, bye guys.